Have you heard the old adage? Money's not the most important thing in life. I know I did a lot when I was growing up. And as an adult who understands now that we attract what we are, not what we want, and that it is our identity. It is not just the actions we take, it's how we optimize those emotions that may be negative, but use them as extra energy to propel us into success. And it's what we focus on, not the myths or untruths that we were told to dumb ourselves down so we could be what somebody else needed us to be instead of revealing our real brilliance, but actually focusing on our strengths, talents, and abilities as a certified hypnotist that now understands all of this. When someone says to me, money's not the most important thing in life, I counter back with, but you know what? Money touches everything that is important. Without having the wealth identity, you will find that maybe it's hard to get the money. Maybe it's hard to keep the money. As soon as you get it, it slips through your fingers. Maybe you don't ask for what you're worth, or maybe you've got the money, but you've had to sacrifice an area of your life. There is always a price to be paid, and you had to sacrifice your health. You had to sacrifice your relationships to get to it. I'm here to tell you, it does not have to be this way. Think of it like this. 80% of who you are and what you believe money is in your life was developed by age 8, not based on you and what you can rationalize and discern. No, because up to that age, you were like a trash can with the lid open on top. And everything that was dumped in through either what is known as spaced repetition or through intense emotion that created an imprint. And an imprint is simply a filter that you then use the rest of your life to judge people, places, and things. Do they match the imprint? Then they're let in. If they don't match the imprint, they do not. And you took on garbage imprints. So think of it like this. Lids up on the trash can. You're accepting from the people in authority around you what money means. Now, when you grew up, you were probably exposed to a lot of different family structures. I know that, yes, there were some mom and dads in my area with the kids that I played with. But then there was also the mom whose husband had passed away. There was the mom who was divorced. There was the dad. I don't know where the mom was, but it was just a dad raising my friends. So I was exposed to a lot of different types of relationships. So my mind was able to accept that there are a lot of different ways to be. But I was not exposed to a lot of different income levels because everybody in my neighborhood was going to be plus or minus $10,000. Nowadays, the disparity can be a little bit larger, it can be up to 20,000, but you're still in the same mindset for wealth. And it was also a mindset of this is what you have to do. I grew up with a mechanic across the street that couldn't make enough to feed his family. So watching him do the odd jobs out of his garage, I definitely grew up with that with my parents, that they always were working at something to try to bring in extra because they could not get paid what they were worth. And then as I got older, and married Drew, my husband now. Well, he was definitely of a much higher prosperity mindset, but his mindset was, yes, you're worth it. And so you can bring it in, but it's not going to be the 40-hour job. It's going to be the 60 or 80-hour job. So you're going to have to sacrifice something. There is always going to be a price to be paid, always. But you're paying the price based on how you were raised. You're paying the price based on that identity that you accepted by age 8 around your wealth and what you were going to have to do back then based on what the adults around you did back then. It is said at any given time in any given area on the 5 to Thrive, only 3% of people grew up functional. That means 97% of us are going to have a challenge in this area. And because it's a challenge, we'll continue to recreate more of what we have because our identity doesn't have the skill set to upgrade on its own. So I'm going to go into this just a little further with you. You have what's known as set points and familiar zones. And you have this on every single level of your 5 to Thrive. Your 5 to Thrive is your wealth. I don't mean the yacht in the harbor. I mean your ability to create what you need when you need it with prosperity. Now, that might be time or it might be money. Those are the two ways that people feel the most prosperous. So it's going to be your wealth, it's going to be your health, your relationships, your career, and then your untapped potential. Whenever I'm working with my elite level clients, I take them through this 5 to Thrive, and then we look at what identity that they need in each of these areas. And we always start with wealth. Because as I said earlier, if you do not have that ability to create what you want when you want it, it's actually recognizing it because it's already in your arena, but your identity has what's known as a subconscious scotoma around the core 4 areas of wealth, the core 4 identities. And so you can only see the challenges, you can't see the resolution. So we always start with wealth because that funds all the other areas. Okay, you have what's known as set points and familiar zones. You're going to have a set point with how much money you can make. You're going to have a set point with how much energy it's going to take. You're going to have a set point with your time, and you're going to have a set point that says, this is how I bring it into my life. Those set points, again, were based on the imprints you accepted by age 8. An imprint is a filter, and it will continue to seek out the people, places, and things to reinforce the original filter, not to get resolution, but to reinforce it. That's like digging in last night's trash to make tonight's dinner. And that's the reason why we will continue to recreate the same challenges. New job that we thought, okay, we've got it going on. They're going to pay me more. And then we find out they reneged on the contract. Or maybe that it was a boss that said, well, yeah, I'm going to pay you, but you know what? I'm going to be an absolute jerk and I'm going to require so many extra hours from you. And you wind up, when you look at the time that's invested, you're making the same amount as your last position. We see it all the time in relationships. Different partner, same drama. Okay, so you have set points you've been conditioned to experience in those areas. What happens whenever you go to move out of those set points is what's known as the terror barrier. Your subconscious mind always wants to take the path of least resistance after age 13. Your subconscious mind is what's in charge of all your habits and patterns, and that includes your habits and patterns around wealth. So when you look to improve the quality of your life, what you're going to find is your subconscious is going to have things feeling like they're falling apart. It takes 21 days for emotional optimization. That's really important. I want you to remember that. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. 21 days for emotional optimization. In fact, let me give you the timelines right now. 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. It takes 3 days for the subconscious mind to let go of something. So we can actually be in withdrawals around having to let go of our poverty consciousness. Oh, what if it doesn't work out? What if it's worse than ever before? Oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do this? That's when the itty bitty shitty committee shows up. With all the what ifs, as well as the ivory tower, you're not working hard enough. Symptoms always have positive intent. These two areas of your mind are showing up because number one, this is how you soothe yourself by going through all the what ifs, but it really doesn't lead to a plan of action. Number two, this is how you distract yourself from the actions you really need to be taking. Number three, this is how you get attention from others by having these breakdowns. Number four, this is how you were taught to connect with others through problems. You don't know how to really love yourself. You only know how to always have a problem. And that's how people are going to be your friends. You connect through problems instead of progress. This is how you have conversations with the family members. You could leave and not see them for another year, drop back into that situation, and it's going to be the same conversation that it was the year previous. And it's going to be around all the problems that you have in life. Those are the positive intents that your problems have. They're trying to show you they don't know how to upgrade. You need someone's assistance to be able to do that. Okay, so three days to let go of something. And then after that 72 hours, things begin to even out and you're like, okay, I'm doing this, I got this. But it takes 21 days of continuous action before you begin to really see sustainable results. 21 days for emotional optimization. That means 21 days that you are going to be challenged, and you need to be able to figure out an action you can take that day so the challenge actually makes you stronger. Because the problems aren't going to go away. There's a difference between solving problems and designing a life. They use two different areas of your brain. And whenever you solve a problem, then your powerful subconscious mind says, guess what? Oh, need to have another problem that I'm going to fix. Oh, wow. You go from problem to problem to problem. I know how this was. I lived life like this for a number of decades until I discovered how we can move into designing a life. And moving into designing a life, can you hear my dog shaking her jingles as she walks down the hall? When we move into designing a life, we say, I need to bring out my strengths, talents, and abilities. So I don't see this as a problem. I see this as a challenge that's actually going to bring out my brilliance. But to know that, you have to know where you fall on the core four of money and prosperity identity. It's also the core four of prosperity. So you have four types of poverty or prosperity consciousness. The first one is security. The second one is freedom. The third one is significance. The fourth one is leadership. That's what they look like when you progress forward. How do they look like poverty? Well, security turns into safety. I must be dependent upon someone else to be okay. That's where you're not living in the moment. You're always looking at, well, maybe that one thing somewhere out in the future is going to finally make it okay for me. And why? Because it is too painful to live in the present moment until you begin to know how to rely on who you are and what it is that you want. By the way, it takes 91 days for an identity upgrade. 91 days where you continue with this focus, continuing to find the people, places, and things that are going to bring you out at your best. But it takes 3 weeks to lay the foundation for that. All right. Freedom, what's on the other side of that? By the way, freedom is and. I can do this and I can do that. That's prosperity thinking. Poverty thinking is I can either have that or I can have that. It is yes or no. It is not and. How can I make money and have the time and the schedule that I want? How can I be able to get paid for what it is that I feel like I'm worth and enjoy my work? That is prosperity. The poverty is I can have one or the other. I certainly can't have both. And your life will have a lot of drama to it. And if it's not you having a lot of drama, the people around you are going to have a lot of drama. And they will continue to remind you how you are not meeting their expectations. This comes from the emotional wound of rejection. And you will find that you are rejected a lot because it's either or. Your mind can't even see the opportunities that are and. Then you have significance. Significance is when you pair up with another person and you create something together that you couldn't have done apart. This is the level of relationships and beginning to recognize worth in yourself because you ignite the brilliance in someone else that wants to experience it. Now, what is going to be your poverty wound here? It is going to be importance. And how does importance show up? Well, you'll use money to help you feel superior. Look, I've got it and they don't. Here's the problem. You're never going to have enough. Money, you feel like, or the prosperity will always give you the upper hand because you never discovered how to evaluate your worthiness based on who you are. You bring that to a relationship. And now it's going to be healthy and it's going to be functional, whether that relationship is with your significant other, whether it's with your boss, whether it's with your clients. By the way, this is the biggest wound area I see in service providers. And they use their clients to help them feel better. And then when the client doesn't succeed, they go right into the pits with them. And now we've got two people who've got a problem. And then the final level of prosperity consciousness is that it's the beginning levels of leadership through love, where you are self-centered, not selfish. Selfish is the other side of it, but self-centered. And that's when you understand that prosperity, well, that comes to you because you're taking care of yourself first, instead of taking care of others and hoping they'll feed you the scraps of what they got left over. This is the level where you will give to others at the detriment of yourself. It's where money isn't important. Yes, it is. We've already determined that. It touches everything that you want to experience in life. This is where you'll give yourself the excuse of, no, money isn't important. Just helping others is, because you're trying to justify the fact that you continue to have problems with it. And if you do have it, you experience shame, not guilt. What's the difference between shame and guilt? Guilt says you are violating your values. It's very healthy because when you experience guilt, then we have to look at, did you violate your values and what do we need to do to correct that? Or do the values need to be upgraded? Because maybe you're going off of a value that wasn't even yours. It was handed to you whenever you were a kid. That's what my parents did. Bless their heart. Oh my gosh, you're going to have 80-hour work weeks just to be able to survive. And you're going to do those 80-hour work weeks being in service to others. And yeah, the first couple of years in my business, I was working 80 hours a week. The first year I was in business, I made $7,000. That was 16 years ago. I gave myself away because then I was hoping they'd see how wonderful I was, and maybe I'd get few of the scraps that they had left over. But I've shared this with you before. When you are this type of dysfunctional giver, all you track is dysfunctional takers. Okay. So what's your plan of action? I'm going to give you 3 steps here in just a minute. But I'm going to share with someone, if all of this makes sense and you're like, you know what? I need to lay that foundation. I need to go 21 days. I need to see how I can actually turn these problems into designing my life because I'm bringing myself out at my very best. I'm launching Dreams into Reality. I've upgraded this program to make it to where it's going to help you sustain your success. So Dreams into Reality is a way for you to first create transformation by revelation, revealing you your strengths, talents, and abilities, how you can take the action for rapid results, how you're going to optimize those emotions, and you're going to upgrade your beliefs around who you are because we're going to upgrade your identity. So this is how the program works. Our focus for August is going to be money blocks and breakthroughs. August 1st, you're going to receive access to a home study course called Maximum Mindset for Maximum Results. But that's not enough. Then August 2nd through the 22nd, each day you're going to receive a video or an audio 10 to 20 minutes long that is going to talk about an aspect of your identity, moving you from poverty into prosperity with a step you'll take that day. This is not just learning about something. This is not just memorizing something. This gets you into continuous action every single day. And so by the end of the 21 days, you've laid that foundation for emotional optimization so you can continue to upgrade your identity. You'll even have access to a hypnosis audio that you can listen to that will continue to reinforce you moving forward. You'll even be invited to join my private Facebook group called Health, Wealth, and Happiness, where there are over 500 members of this group outside of just Dreams into Reality, and all of them are peak performers in certain areas of their life. So that way, when you have a question, not only will I be able to give you online coaching, but you'll be able to get coaching from every member in the group. And if you decide you ever need extra assistance by working with me, maybe in a private hypnosis session or in a coaching call, I'll take what you invested in your Dreams into Reality membership for that month and I'll apply it towards working with me privately. This is a way for you to continue to make success as simple as possible. Remember, the subconscious after age 13 always takes the path of least resistance. We're trying to make it easy for your subconscious to move you forward. Okay. What's the investment? Right now, $97 per month for Dreams into Reality. And if you do it after the first month, you don't want to continue into the second month because we always have a new focus each month, then you can cancel. $97 a month to get a course and then get the additional days. So you have 21 days of moving towards your goal, turning your dream into reality by upgrading your identity. Now, if you decide that you want to have a hypnosis session with me, my Jumpstart Your Success package, you'll see on the page for Dreams into Reality where you can do that. And I'll add this on to you as a bonus, a monthly Dreams into Reality. Okay. The pricing that's on there, $97 per month. The closer we get to August 1st, the more I'm going to be likely to raise that investment. Just letting you know. I don't know if I will or not. And once you become a member, you reserve it at that investment for as long as you decide to stay a member. It will never go up. Okay. So you're going to get the information for this at drewdawnferguson.com/DIR. That stands for Dreams into Reality. So Drew, D-R-E-W, Dawn, D-A-W-N, Ferguson, FERGUSON.com/DIR. Let's wrap up with your 3 steps for success. Number 1, begin to think about what you were conditioned to experience before age 8 around prosperity? That's step number 1. Step number 2, which level do you think it fits into? Was it safety, where you were told that you'd have to depend on others to be okay? Was it lots of drama? You were going to draw people into your life that were always going to have problems? Was it importance that, okay, I use money as a way to fill the void around my missing worth? Or was it connection, that there always needs to be a problem? You're going to get the money and then something's going to happen. The car breaks down, the refrigerator goes out, whatever it might be. But you were taught to connect with money through problems. So that's step number 2. And then step number 3, realize your set point. Your set point is how you continue to find people, places, and things to reinforce this. Then join me. Let's upgrade the set point by upgrading who you are. $97. I am trying to make it as easy as possible for you to say yes to your success. DrewDawnFerguson.com/DIR. The program kicks off August 1st. Grab it at this investment while it's available. Thank you, and I look forward to meeting you and who you really are with your wealth and prosperity consciousness.